Being able to bring this film, I knew we were talking at the very end of the interview about being able to bring it to an audience that wasn't necessarily, familiar with highlights, but maybe not familiar with the history behind it. What are you looking for when an audience gets to see the film? What are you most excited about hearing from an audience?
Well, I think when I was a highlights reader, I was definitely not thinking about like how it was going to affect myself as an adult. So like walking away, I'd like an audience to be affected by the film in a way that makes them think that it's, that they feel empowered, they feel a little bit inspired even by the people. So I guess that sort of answers the question.
I guess you and Brett were talking earlier when you guys had off time about being on the circuit. When you get to go along the circuit, what do you get to do outside of the film industry? Like, what do you get to do here in Dallas? Do you try and do stuff, or do you try and stay connected to the festival and immersed here in like a hotel?
Well, I would like to see a lot more. It's funny, like even just with my Uber driver driving around, they're like, "Oh, well, this is the the grassy knoll, and there's this over here." That's why I'm getting a really quick Uber tour of the city. But yeah, so on the festival circuit, I like to try to see as much of the town as possible, but really it's also about seeing the films and meeting other filmmakers and talking to local press and like everyone that's around here. So I enjoy it. I wish I had a little bit more time to take in the city though.
I'm kind of curious, being able to take it around the country is something, but being able to take it outside the country, that's something, a goal for you guys to be able to show it to an international audience?
That would be really interesting. I'm curious that Highlights does publish a magazine in different parts of the world, so it might be interesting to take it to China or to Budapest or wherever it might be. It would be really exciting to do that. I haven't done it with another film yet. An international audience could be something very interesting. But have you been overseas for anything? Or?
Well, I know it touched Israel because that's where my folks found out about it. So
oh, wow.
At some point it was there.
Oh, interesting.
I've got to ask, since you've scoured all of the highlights and you know all of the series of them, is there a decade that kind of stands out to you of when you felt like, well, they were spot on with knowing things, or do you think that they've been anything stand out as long as the decade lines?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I kind of look at like the art of things and like how things were crafted and what they look like. But I don't know. I sort of like the imagery of the '60s. Like there's something really kind of cool about that, the look of that. As far as the material, the content, I don't know. I think they're pretty current right now. I think they're really tapped into like what's going on with kids. So I kind of imagine that's probably what's been happening with them for the past 70 years. So.
We talked a lot about how this February issue is very profound and big. What does it mean to see them go into another, diverse issue, and they're tackling it full front?
Yeah, I mean, I think they said that they're like, I wish I could remember what the word was that they used for it. They're just like, they're sort of deliberately ambiguous in a way. They want to represent the same-sex parents in a way on this issue, but at the same time they want to make sure that it could be looked at as just maybe even like the uncle and the dad hanging out, or it could be the mom and her sister, or like just two friends, because they just want the kids to be able to look at that relationship between the two women and maybe see their moms in it, or maybe just see their aunt and their mom hanging out, So I think that they're really carefully thoughtful about that kind of thing. They're not going to put arrows and say, these are gay parents, That's not what they do. They're just very conscientious of that kind of thing. So, they're pretty breakthrough. I think that they thought they came to the game a little bit late, but overall, I think that they are a little bit cutting edge. Even from like in the 40s, I think they were pretty cutting edge. So,
kind of looking to the future, where do you see highlights in the decade? And then hopefully, let's say 100th anniversary, where do you see this amazing company at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just really hope that like magazines and like the print industry is still around. I think that everyone's always very, they're nervous about the print industry going belly up. But I don't know what the next issue is they need to cover. I think they just need to always be tuned into what's going on with kids and like kid culture, and I think they will be. I think it's sort of, that's the thing. It's like one generation passes it down to the next, so we kind of hope that that's what happens.
Well, hopefully we'll see 44 pages for a long, long time.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you so much again.